Well then, Prince, I will give you a parable. Once there was a trumpeter who took his trumpet and went into the border country. On coming to a village, he stood in the village center, blew his trumpet 3 times, and then putting it down on the ground, sat down to one side. Then, Prince, these border folk thought, where does that sound come from that is so delightful, so sweet, so intoxicating, so compelling, so captivating? They addressed the trumpeter and asked him about this. Friends, this trumpet is where those delightful sounds come from. So then they laid the trumpet on his back, crying, "Speak, Mr. Trumpet, speak." But the trumpet never uttered a sound. Then they turned it face downwards, on his side, on his other side, stood it up, stood it on his head, thumped it with their fists, stoned it, beat it with sticks, struck it with swords, shook it this way and that, crying, "Speak, Mr. Trumpet, speak." But the trumpet never uttered a sound. The trumpeter thought, what fools these border folk are. How stupidly they search for the sound of the trumpet. And as they watched him, he took the trumpet, blew it 3 times and went away. And those border folk thought, it seems that when the trumpet is accompanied by a man, by effort, and by the wind, that it makes a sound. But when it is not accompanied by a man, by effort, and by the wind, then it makes no sound. In the same way, Prince, when this body has life, heat, and consciousness, then it goes and comes back, stands and sits and lies down, sees things with his eyes, hears with his ears, smells with his nose, tastes with his tongue, feels with its body, and knows mental objects with its mind. But when he has no life, heat, or consciousness, it does none of these things. In the same way, Prince, you should consider there is another world. Stop here for a moment. So this is the 8th argument. So this Prince has given this example, what he did with the thief, skin him alive and then try to see the soul come out. And when he does not see the soul emerging, he does everything to force the soul to come out, and still he does not see. So this Arahant gave him an excellent argument about the trumpet. Whatever you may say about that, Reverend Kassapa, I still think there is no other world. Have you any reason for this assertion, Prince? I have, Reverend Kassapa. What is that, Prince? Reverend Kassapa, take the case of a thief they bring before me, and I say, strip away this man's outer skin, and perhaps we shall be able to see his soul emerging. Then I tell them to strip away his inner skin, his flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, but still we cannot see any soul emerging. And that is why, Reverend Kassapa, I believe there is no other world. Well then, Prince, I will give you a parable. Once there was a matted hair fire worshipper who dwelt in the forest in a leaf hut, and a certain tribe was on the move, and its leader stayed for one night near the fire worshipper's dwelling, and then left. So the fire worshipper thought he would go to the site to see if he could find anything he could make use of. He got up early and went to the site, and there he saw a tiny, delicate baby boy lying abandoned on his back. At the sight he thought, it would not be right for me to look on and let a human being die. I had better take this child to my hermitage, take care of him, feed him and bring him up. So he did so. When the boy was 10 or 12, the hermit had some business to do in the neighborhood. So he said to the boy, I want to go to the neighborhood, my son. You look after the fire and don't let it go out. If it should go out, here is an axe, here are some sticks, here are the fire sticks, so you can relight the fire and look after it. Stop here for a moment. These fire worshippers, they worship the fire god, so they never allow the fire to go out. So he's telling the boy that if the fire should go out, you must light the fire again. Having thus instructed the boy, the hermit went into the neighborhood. But when the boy, being absorbed in his games, let the fire go out, then he thought, Father said such and such, relight the fire and look after it. Now I better do so. So he chopped up the fire sticks with the axe, thinking, I expect I'll get a fire this way. But he got no fire. He cut the fire sticks into 2, into 3, into 4, into 5, 10, 100 pieces. He splintered them. He pounded them into a mortar. He winnowed them in the great wind, thinking, I expect I'll get a fire this way. But he got no fire. And when the hermit came back, having finished his business, he said, Son, why have you let the fire go out? And the boy told him what had happened. The hermit thought, how stupid this boy is, how senseless, what a thoughtless way to try to get a fire. So while the boy looked on, he took the fire sticks and rekindled the fire, saying, Son, that's the way to rekindle a fire, not the stupid, senseless, thoughtless way you tried to do it. Just the same way, Prince, you are looking foolishly, senselessly, and unreasonably for another world. Prince, give up this evil viewpoint. Give it up. Do not let it cause you misfortune and suffering for a long time. Stop here for a moment. So this boy doesn't know how to make this fire. The fire sticks, you got to put a bit of, fine material, fine wood, then they got to rub the 2 fire sticks with the fine material until the fire stick becomes very hot. And the fine material will kindle and start a fire. But this boy didn't know how to do it. So in the same way, this prince, he was trying to find the soul, and he did all these things, cutting the skin, cutting the flesh, etc., but could not find the soul. Even though you say this, Reverend Kassapa, still I cannot bear to give up this evil opinion. Prince Pasenadi of Kosala knows my opinions, and so do kings abroad. If I give it up, they will say, what a fool Prince Payasi is, how stupidly he grasps at wrong views. I will still stick to this view out of anger, contempt and spite. Well then, Prince, I will give you a parable. Once, Prince, a great caravan of 1,000 carts was travelling from east to west, and wherever they went, they rapidly consumed all the grass, wood and green stuff. Now this caravan had 2 leaders, each in charge of 500 carts. And they thought, this is a great caravan of 1,000 carts. Wherever we go, we use up all the supplies. Perhaps we should divide the caravan into 2 groups of 500 carts each. And they did so. Then one of the leaders collected plenty of grass, wood and water and set off. After 2 or 3 days' journey, he saw a dark, red-eyed man coming towards him wearing a quiver and a wreath of white water lilies, with his clothes and hair all wet, driving a donkey chariot whose wheels were splashed with mud. On seeing this man, the leader said, Where do you come from, sir? And he said, From such and such a place. And where are you going to such and such a place? Has there been much rainfall in the jungle ahead? And he said, Oh yes, sir, there has been a great deal of rain in the jungle ahead of you. The roads are well watered, and there is plenty of grass, wood and water. Throw away all the grass, wood and water you already got. You will make rapid progress with lightly laden carts, so do not tire your draft oxen. The caravan leader told the carters what the man had said. Throw away the grass, wood and water, and they did so. But at the first camping place, they did not find any grass, wood or water, nor in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth or seventh, and thus they all came to ruin and destruction. And whatever there was of them, men and cattle, they were all gobbled up by that Yaka spirit, and only their bones remained. And when the leader of the second caravan was sure the first caravan had gone far enough, he stocked up with plenty of grass, wood and water. After 2 or 3 days' journey, this leader saw a dark, red-eyed man coming towards him, who advised him to throw away his stocks of grass, wood and water. Then the leader said to the carters, This man told us that we should throw away the grass, wood and water we already have. But he is not one of our friends and relatives, so why should we trust him? So do not throw away the grass, wood and water we have. Let the caravan continue on its way with the goods we have brought, and do not throw any of them away. The carters agreed and did as they said. At the first camping place they did not find any grass. They did not find any grass, wood or water, nor at the second, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth or seventh. But there they saw the other caravan that had come to ruin and destruction, and they saw the bones of those men and cattle that had been gobbled up by the Yaka spirit. Then the caravan leader said to the carters, "That caravan came to ruin and destruction through the folly of its leader. So now let us leave behind such of our goods as are of little value, and take whatever is of greater value from the other caravan." And they did so. And with that wise leader, they passed safely through the jungle. In the same way, Prince, you will come to ruin and destruction if you foolishly and unwisely seek the other world in the wrong way. Those who think they can trust anything they hear are heading for ruin and destruction, just like those carters. Prince, give up this evil viewpoint. Give it up. Do not let it cause you misfortune and suffering for a long time. Stop here for a moment. This is a very classic example this Arahant has given. Not to trust any person you are not familiar with. It's very good advice. And it brings to my mind that nowadays there are many so-called Dhamma teachers and meditation teachers who teach all kinds of things different from what the Buddha says. So if people trust them, these people come from foreign countries, from different places. You don't know them, but many of our Malaysians, similarly with other people in the world, you just trust these people instead of trusting the Buddha. The Buddha said that we should only follow his suttas and the Vinaya, not any other teacher. But a lot of people, instead of following the Buddha, they go and follow all these other teachers who are teaching wrong things, wrong view. So they end up just like this caravan leader, the caravan gobbled up by the Yaka, red-eyed man is the Yaka. Yaka is red eyes. So those don't trust anybody you're not familiar with. Only somebody you know for a long time. The Buddha says it's very hard to judge a person. You must associate with him for a long time, and you must be very observant. Then only you know a person's heart. Even though you say this, Reverend Kassapa, still I cannot bear to give up this evil opinion. If I give it up, they will say, "What a fool Prince Payasi is." Well then, Prince, I will give you a parable. Once there was a swineherd who was going from his own village to another. There he saw a heap of dry dung that had been thrown away, and he thought, "There's a lot of dry dung somebody's thrown away. That would be food for my pigs. I ought to carry it away." And he spread out his cloak, gathered up the dung in it, made it into a bundle, and put it on his head, and went on. But on his way back there was a heavy shower of unseasonable rain. And he went on his way, bespattered with oozing, dripping dung to his fingertips, and still carrying his load of dung. Those who saw him said, "You must be mad, you must be crazy. Why do you go along carrying that load of dung that's oozing and dripping all over you down to your fingertips?" And he said, "You are the ones who are mad. You are the ones that are crazy. This stuff is food for my pigs." Prince, you speak just like the dung carrier in my parable. Prince, give up this evil viewpoint. Give it up. Do not let it cause you misfortune and suffering for a long time. I'll stop here for a moment. So this prince refused to give up the view that he's carrying. So this Arahant gave him the parable of this guy who breeds swine or pigs and is carrying all this dung on his head. Even though it's raining, he still refused to give up the dung. Even though you say this, Reverend Kassapa, still I cannot bear to give up this evil opinion. If I give it up, they will say, "What a fool Prince Payasi is." Well then, Prince, I will give you a parable. Once there were two gamblers using nuts as dice. One of them, whenever he got the unlucky dice, swallowed it. The other noticed what he was doing and said, "Well, my friend, you are the winner, all right. Give me the dice and I will make an offering of them." "All right," said the first, and gave them to him. Then that one filled the dice with poison and then said, "Come on, let's have a game." The other agreed. They played again, and once again the the one player, whenever he got the unlucky dice, swallowed it. The second watched him do so and then uttered this verse: "The dice is smeared with burning stuff, though the swallower doesn't know. Swallow cheat and swallow well, bitter it will be like hell." Prince, you speak just like the gambler in my parable. Prince, give up this evil viewpoint. Give it up. Do not let it cause you misfortune and suffering for a long time. This is another good argument. Even though you say this, Reverend Kassapa, still I cannot give up this evil opinion. If I give it up, they will say, "What a fool Prince Payasi is." Well then, Prince, I will give you a parable. Once the inhabitants of a certain neighborhood migrated, and one man said to his friend, "Come along, let's go to that neighborhood. We might find something valuable." His friend agreed. So they went to that district and came to a village street. And there they saw a pile of hemp that had been thrown away. And one said, "Here's some hemp. You make a bundle. I'll make a bundle, and we'll both carry it off." The other agreed, and they did so. Then coming to another village street, they found some hemp thread, and one said, "This pile of hemp thread is just what we wanted the hemp for. Let's each throw away our bundle of hemp, and we'll go on with a load of hemp thread each." And the other friend said, "I brought this bundle of hemp a long way and is well tied up. That will do for me. You do as you like." So his companion threw away the hemp and took the hemp thread. Coming to another village street, they found some hemp cloth, and one said, "This pile of hemp cloth is just what we wanted the hemp or hemp thread for. Throw away your load of hemp, and I'll throw away my load of hemp thread, and we'll go on with a load of hemp cloth each." But the other replied as before. So the one companion threw away the hemp thread and took the hemp cloth. And in another village they saw a pile of flax, something more valuable. In another linen thread, in another linen cloth, in another cotton, in another cotton thread, in another cotton cloth, in another iron, in another copper, in another tin, in another lead, in another silver, in another gold. Then the one said, "This pile of gold is just what we wanted, the hemp thread, the hemp cloth, the flax, linen thread, linen cloth, cotton thread, cotton cloth, iron, copper, tin, lead, silver for. You throw away your load of hemp, and I'll throw away my load of silver, and we'll both go on with a load of gold each." Again his friend said, "I brought this load of hemp a long way, and it's well tied up. That will do for me. You do as you like." And this companion threw away the load of silver and took the load of gold. Then they came back to their own village. And there the one who brought a load of hemp gave no pleasure to his parents, nor to his wife and children, nor to his friends and colleagues. And he did not even get any joy or happiness from it himself. But the one who came back with a load of gold pleased his parents, his wife and children, his friends and colleagues, and he derived joy and happiness from it himself as well. Prince, you speak just like the hemp bearer in my parable. Prince, give up this evil view. Give it up. Do not let it cause you misfortune and suffering for a long time. So this is the last 13th argument the Arahant gave to this Prince Payasi. This last one is very good. Saying, just like this stupid man, he found a pile of hemp and he refused to change it for any other thing. Even though they keep meeting more and more valuable things, he refused to change. Just carry on the same pile of hemp. And his friend, each time his friend saw something more valuable, he threw what he was carrying away and carried something more valuable. And finally, the most valuable thing he could find was gold, and brought back a lot of gold. Whereas his friend brought back only this hemp. So in the same way, this Prince Payasi refused to change his view, carrying that useless, wrong view. And then finally, this Prince Payasi said, "I was pleased and delighted with the Reverend Kassapa's first parable, and I wanted to hear his quick-witted replies to questions, because I thought he was a worthy opponent. Excellent, Reverend Kassapa, excellent. It is as if someone were to set up what had been knocked down, or to point out the way to one who had got lost, or to bring an oil lamp into a dark place, so that those with eyes could see what was there. Just so has the Reverend Kassapa expounded the Dhamma in various ways, and I, Reverend Kassapa, go for refuge to the Blessed Lord, to the Dhamma and to the Sangha. May the Reverend Kassapa accept me from this day forth as a lay follower as long as life shall last. And Reverend Kassapa, I want to make a great sacrifice. Instruct me, Reverend Kassapa, how this may be to my lasting benefit and happiness. Stop here for a moment. So here, finally, he acknowledged that he was wrong. That this Reverend Kassapa is pointing out the way to him who was lost. So he became a lay disciple, and he asked for instructions how to make a great sacrifice. Prince, when a sacrifice is made at which oxen are slain, or goats, fowls, or pigs, or various creatures are slaughtered, and the participants have wrong view, wrong thought, wrong speech, wrong action, wrong livelihood, wrong effort, wrong mindfulness, and wrong concentration, then that sacrifice is of no great fruit or profit. It is not very brilliant and has no great radiance. Suppose, Prince, a farmer went into a forest with plough and seed, and there in an untilled place with poor soil from which the stumps had not been uprooted, were to sow seeds that were broken, rotting, ruined by wind and heat, stale and not properly embedded in the soil, and the rain god did not send proper showers at the right time, would those seeds germinate, develop and increase, and would the farmer get an abundant crop? No, Reverend Kassapa. Well then, Prince, it is the same with the sacrifice at which oxen are slain, etc., where the participants have wrong view, etc. But when none of these creatures are put to death, and the participants have right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, then that sacrifice is of great fruit and profit. It is brilliant and of great radiance. Suppose, Prince, a farmer went into the forest with a plough and seed, and there in a well-tilled place with good soil from which the stumps had been uprooted, were to sow seeds that were not broken, rotting, ruined by wind and heat, or stale, and were firmly embedded in the soil, and the rain god were to send proper showers at the right time. Would those seeds germinate, develop and increase, and would the farmer get an abundant crop? He would, Reverend Kassapa. In the same way, Prince, at a sacrifice at which no oxen are slain, etc., where the participants have right view, etc., then that sacrifice is of great fruit and profit. It is brilliant and of great radiance. Up here for a moment. So here the first thing, Reverend Kassapa is teaching him, making a sacrifice not to kill any creatures, and to have the Noble Eightfold Path, to understand the Noble Eightfold Path. Then Prince Payasi established a charity for ascetics and Brahmins, wayfarers, beggars and the needy, and there such food was given out as broken rice with sour gruel, and also rough clothing with ball fringes. And a young Brahmin called Uttara was put in charge of the distribution. Referring to it, he said, "Through this charity I have been associated with Prince Payasi in this world, but not in the next." And Prince Payasi heard of his words, so he sent for him and asked him if he had said that. "Yes, Lord. But why do you say such a thing? Friend Uttara, don't we who wish to gain merit expect a reward for our charity?" And Uttara said, "But Lord, the food you give, broken rice with sour gruel, you would not care to touch it with your foot, much less eat it. And the rough clothes and with ball fringes, you would not care to set foot on them, much less wear them. Lord, you are kind and gentle to us, so how can we reconcile such kindness and gentleness with unkindness and roughness?" And the prince said, "Well then, Uttara, you arrange to supply food as I eat and clothes such as I wear." "Very good, Lord," said Uttara, and he did so. And Prince Payasi, because he had established his charity grudgingly, not with his own hands, and without proper concern, like something casually tossed aside, was reborn after his death, at the breaking up of the body, in the company of the 4 great kings, in the empty Sri Saka mansion. But Uttara, who had given the charity ungrudgingly, with his own hands and with proper concern, not as something tossed aside, was reborn after death at the breaking up of the body, in a good place, a heavenly realm, in the company of the 33 gods, and probably surrounded by a lot of Devis. Now at that time, the Venerable Gavampati was accustomed to go to the empty Sri Saka mansion for his midday rest, and Payasi of the Devas went to the Venerable Gavampati, saluted him and stood to one side. And the Venerable Gavampati said to him as he stood there, "Who are you, friend?" And he said, "Lord, I am Prince Payasi." And the Arahant said, "Friend, are you not the one who used to say, there is no other world, there are no spontaneously born beings, there is no fruit or result of good or evil deeds?" And he said, "Yes, Lord, I am the one who used to say that, but I was converted from that evil view by the noble Kumarakassapa." And the Arahant asked him, "But where has the young Brahmin, Uttara, who was in charge of the distribution of your charity, has been reborn?" And the prince said, "Lord, he who gave the charity ungrudgingly was reborn in the company of the 33 gods. But I, who gave grudgingly, have been reborn here in the empty Sri Saka mansion. Lord, please, when you return to earth, tell people to give ungrudgingly, and inform them of the way in which Prince Payasi and the young Brahmin Uttara have been reborn." And so the Venerable Gavampati, on his return to earth, declared, "You should give ungrudgingly with your own hands, with proper concern, not carelessly." Prince Payasi did not do this, and at death, at the breaking up of the body, he was reborn in the company of the 4 great kings in the empty Sri Saka mansion, whereas the administrator of his charity, the young Brahmin Uttara, who gave ungrudgingly with his own hands, with proper concern and not carelessly, was reborn in the company of the 33 gods. That's the end of the sutta. So you see this Arahant, Venerable Gavampati, he used to spend the afternoon up in the heaven, in the heavenly mansion. Good to have psychic power when it's very hot, go to heaven. So this Prince Payasi, actually, he was quite selfish. So when he did charity also, he gave not very good things. So because this Uttara criticized this, so he asked Uttara to go and do the charity. So he was not so happy to do it. That's why he didn't do it himself. He asked Uttara to do it. So because he gave grudgingly, so when the fruit ripened, he was born in heaven, but his palace was empty. He was the only one staying there, I think. Big palace, but empty. That's why the Arahant used to go and rest there. So this, you see from this sutta, the wit of this Arahant Kumarakassapa, each time the Prince Payasi gave a reason, he would answer with a very excellent simile to show him is wrong.